Welcome to the road to 1 million US dollars. Let's get right into the Bitcoin chart for today, starting on this 4-hour time frame for Bitcoin, because right now we are seeing a massive dump to the downside. So we are seeing a continuation of this bearish divergence play out in the charts here. Now, in the case that you are not familiar with what a bearish divergence actually is, it is when we have higher highs in the Bitcoin price and lower highs in the RSI momentum indicator. And typically this indicates that we are getting a break from all of this bullish price action that we have seen here recently. So usually it plays out either by some choppy sideways price action or potentially some bearish momentum in the short term. And this is exactly what we have seen so far. However, right now we are actually reaching into a critical level of support for Bitcoin, sitting between 62K and 62.7K for the Bitcoin price, because this is a Fibonacci golden pocket for Bitcoin. And if we would lose this 62K level as a level of support, this would be a pretty serious sign of weakness here for Bitcoin. So it is very important for the bulls that we actually hold this 62K level, for example, on the 1 day time frame. So obviously we can get like a wick below here or something like that. But so long as we hold this on the 1 day time frame, then I think it is still possible that we just get a continuation to the upside here. But if we now start getting candle closes below 62K, for example, on the 4-hour time frame or even the 1 day time frame, then I think it becomes very likely that we go much lower for the Bitcoin price, for example, down to this 0.5 level, sitting at about 59.5K, or we might even go lower. But before we start talking about that, I think it is still a little bit early because we haven't even lost this Fibonacci golden pocket as a level of support. And for the keen observers here, or people who have just been trading today, the RSI on the 4-hour time frame as well as the lower time frames is already in deep oversold territory here. Now, you may remember since yesterday when we were trading right here, I was saying, yeah, basically we already reached into oversold territory. So typically you would see the RSI reset back up to around that 50 level. And that is exactly what we saw before getting another move to the downside here. We are now reaching deep into oversold territory once again. So of course we can go a bit lower or even see something like this. However, at some point you need to see that RSI reset back up to around that 50 level. And the way the RSI actually resets is either by some choppy sideways price action, in which case the RSI would reset up quite slowly like this, or by actually getting some bullish momentum in the short term, in which case the RSI would reset up more quickly and can even go past the 50 level here, because whenever the RSI is above 50, it means that we are in an uptrend on that specific time frame. So that is just something that I'm keeping an eye on. And I have been saying this inside my Discord community as well earlier today, but I think especially for the short-term traders right now, so people who are stepping in and out of longs and shorts, this is like the perfect market for us right now because we're seeing a lot of volatility in the market. So to me, this is very exciting, and I've been taking advantage of this by just trading on the lower time frames. Now let's zoom out a little bit to this 1 day time frame. So recently here we got rejected from this big level of resistance, sitting from 65K all the way up to 66,000. And now we touched into this big level of support, sitting from 62.4K all the way down to 60,000 US dollars for the Bitcoin price. And in the case that we lose this 60K level as a level of support, then the next big level of support below that is sitting from 58,000 all the way down to 56,000 US dollars for the Bitcoin price. So that is just something to keep an eye on if we actually lose 60K. Next, taking a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map. As you can see on this 1 week time frame, we just took out a lot of liquidity to the downside at about 62.6K. Now, lastly, taking a look at the Bitcoin ETF flow tables for today. Yesterday, we saw another net inflow of about $60 million. However, this is quite a significant decrease from these massive inflows that we saw last week. So I'm very curious to see what kind of inflows or outflows we're going to get on Tuesday when I check back in with this tomorrow. Of course, so long as these net inflows keep continuing here every single weekday, then obviously this is going to have an upwards pressuring effect on the Bitcoin price. One thing I want to leave off with here today is that you think back to when we were at these highs and I was sending out some warning signals in the charts here, and I was getting a lot of hate for this in the comments. Now think back to what the sentiment was like at the top here, and I want you to think back to that moment the next time that we actually reached the top of the range, because I am telling you guys, it is going to be the exact same thing all over again. We saw the exact same thing right here, and right here, and right here. And then again, we saw it right here a couple of days ago. So at the top of the range, everyone is extremely bullish and you get hate for pointing out warning signals in the charts. However, the opposite is the case if we actually go to the bottom of the range, because you may remember as well, just a few weeks ago, people were saying that the bull market was over when we were trading right here at about 53K. People also said the bull market was over right here and right here. So you may start to see a pattern here, which is that in a range like this, people are extremely bullish at the highs and extremely bearish at the lows. So that is something to remember if we actually come to the bottom of the range once again, or if we actually get to the top of the range once again. Either way, this has been today's market update. Thank you very much for watching once again, and I will see you tomorrow in the next one.